This video will cover the Infusionsoft settings that are needed to get started in Fortapay. Once you log into the Fortapay admin, go to Settings and then click on the Infusionsoft tab. From there, you'll need to get your Infusionsoft app name. These little help prompts will help you determine what information is needed and give you some examples. So our app name is just the first part of our Infusionsoft URL. And then we'll need to get the API key. Now the API key can be found when you're logged into Infusionsoft as an admin. Go to Admin, then Settings, then click Application on the left, and scroll all the way down. And you should be able to get the encrypted key. You'll want to copy that value over and paste it in the API key field. From there, we'll need to determine which merchant account that you will want to use in Fortapay. Infusionsoft does allow you to set up multiple merchant accounts. So if you have multiple accounts, you'll need to determine which one is correct. You can do that under e-commerce settings, then click on merchant accounts. And from there, you can mouse over the little edit button and out will pop open the account ID. So you can see in this example, it's account ID 3. So if I wanted to use this merchant account to process any charges, I would just enter in ID 3 here, as I've done. Finally, we'll want to set up username and password fields. These will be used Infusionsoft data fields that will store our login information for our clients. Usually we would suggest using email for the username, and you can use the password field, or you can create a custom field to hold the password. There are a couple advantages to creating a custom field to hold the password in advanced cases, where using just the standard Infusionsoft password field might pose some limitations, but those are in more advanced configurations. There's a couple advanced settings. In most cases, these aren't necessary, but in some circumstances might be helpful. You can require very strong passwords from your users. We can encrypt passwords in Infusionsoft, and so you can choose an encryption method to do that. And we'll be talking about these other options here in another more advanced video. That wraps it up for the Infusionsoft settings. After the Infusionsoft settings, we'll want to configure the basic application settings for Fortapay. Do this under the Settings tab and then click on the Applications tab. So the first of these obviously is just setting up your company name. You can upload your logo. If you want to add a link to your logo, you can do that. You can determine the date format that you want displayed as a part of your invoices. And depending on your currency settings in Infusionsoft, you may have a few options here to choose from as well. If you're on the Fortapay white label version, you'll have a few advanced settings here as well that will allow for custom styles, JavaScripts, and adding content to the footer. Once you've got those settings set, you'll want to go to Payment Methods. And here you can choose from the available cards that you want to accept. There's a couple other options here that are important worth discussing. So if you want to allow partial payment on invoices, you can set this to yes. Otherwise, you can simply indicate no, and when payment is made, it will require full payment or no payment. If you select yes, it will allow the customer to enter in the option that they want to submit payment for. For advance payment, if you're using payment plans, then you can allow advance payment without those being currently due. If you'd like that, you can set that to yes. Otherwise, you can leave that at no. On rare occasion, there may be an issue with a payment not going through correctly. And if you'd like to note that on the customer record, you can indicate yes, and that will log a note on the contact record in Infusionsoft indicating that a payment was attempted but failed. And finally here, if you'd like, you can set up PayPal to be one of the payment methods. This doesn't need to be configured necessarily in Infusionsoft. You'd simply indicate your PayPal email address, choose the appropriate currency, and your PayPal will be an option that they can pay. So that wraps it up for the application settings of Fortapay. Now we're going to get into customizing your Fortapay billing portal. Before we do that, I recommend using this little handy tool so you can get a feel for how Fortapay works from your customer's perspective. So under settings, click on tools, and then we have this log in as feature. And so if you type in a ID or name or something here, it will find a contact. You can select that, and then you can click the login button. That will pop open the a view of the customer billing portal from your client's perspective. This is helpful in seeing how Fortapay lays out and understanding the different options that you have. So I'd recommend doing that and getting familiar with the basic application. It consists of an overview page with the account balances shown. We've got our invoices with a list of invoices that are currently against that account. If you have subscriptions enabled, that's also an option. They can update their billing information. And finally, they can also, if you have enabled, view and see their payment, any payment plans that they might have also available. There are a few profile settings, so they can modify or update profile information and addresses. They can manage any of their current credit cards on file, and if needed, they can change their passwords. So that's the basic overview of Fortapay from the view of one of your clients. So it's helpful to take a look at that as we go through and customize some of these settings. So let's jump back to pages. Now you can choose from different options that you want to make available for display or different services that you may want to show your customers. The first of these is the overview page. Now we can update sample text as you see here. If I pop back to my example, it's easy to update information or text. We can also indicate if a credit card is expiring in the next so many days and I want a notice to display there, I can indicate that there and that will show a notice. And then I can update my basic billing contact information associated on my account. So if I hit refresh now, we can see I've now got a notice that one of my cards is expiring. We've got our contact information, etc. So that's the overview page. Next is contact page. So we allow a simple page. You can really customize this. I actually dropped in a little Infusionsoft form here that you can do, or you could simply indicate text, or you can merge fields. And if we look at under the user view here, I have a contact us, and I've got this little form, Infusionsoft form that I've added. So again, this is just really a blank page that you can customize any kind of way if you have particular places you want them to reach out and contact you. Okay, so under invoices, first we have the view of the actual individual invoice. And so I can add text up above, I can add merge fields from Infusionsoft here by selecting really any of the field data out of Infusionsoft that's on the contact record can be imported here. I can also do a couple things with formatting that data correctly with pricing or date information. And so I've got some basic invoice settings set up here. Now, again, if we jump over and look at this from Wiley's perspective, the customer's view here, and I jump into one of these invoices, this is where that information gets updated. So I've got my basic information here. We've got some notes that we may add or display. So anything that you want to update text-wise can be updated right from this invoice screen. Next is the invoice list. This is the view where we see all the invoices together right here, and I can see unpaid invoices or all invoices. There's a couple settings right here. So by default, showing all invoices or just the unpaid ones. I can also limit it to only display invoices with particular products. So if I was using this and I only wanted certain products to show up on this invoice list, then I could indicate that there. Next is the subscriptions tab. Allows, if you enable a subscription, a tab here or page that will pull down and show any active subscriptions that your customer may have. There's also some options here to either update their billing information, and they can do that based on cards they have on file. They can also pay with a new card. Um, and you can also choose to enable them to cancel their plan if you want to do that, or change plans and change among different options. So those are a few of the configurable settings here. So we can see in this case, I only want to display certain subscriptions under the subscription tab. I wanted to allow my customers to change subscriptions, but if I indicated no here, then that option would not be available. And as well as canceling. I could choose to enable that or not. Again, we can also add other content to the page. So if I, for example, wanted to merge in contact, let's try name here, first name. So let's say we add hi, in this case, Wiley. And I could also add content below that subscription. If I hit save, now I go back to Wiley's view here and refresh, and we can see I can add content above or below this table of subscriptions as well. Okay, the next tab here is payment plans, and it works much like the subscription. We can enable that or not enable that. We can limit it by certain products that we only want to show. We can add content to that page using these two boxes here. And when that's enabled, it will show payments plan option here. And then I can see what's going on. If I click into this invoice, now I can see that I've got upcoming payments and what the schedule is. And if I have that, these are a couple of the options that we set earlier. I allowed the customer to indicate how much they wanted to pay. And if it's not currently due, then we can also make advance payment on that. So I can simply pay with a current card. I can add a new card, or as we indicated, we enabled PayPal, and that's also an option. So that's payment plans. The next tab here is profile. So this enables me to decide what information I want displayed under the profile. So if we go back to my profile here, I can choose to allow the customer to update this information. So as indicated here, I'm not allowing him to change my email address. And then I can decide if I want them to enable or edit other profile information or have that displayed. And I can simply choose these little options to show or hide information or allow edits on that. And then finally, we have listed here if you want to customize further any of the views or displays, you can get into some of the more advanced things. We can add, for example, on the invoice list, I could add custom columns here to the data, and I could do that by creating a column or field. I'd select where I want this to show, for example, on the invoices list, give it a name, and then choose what data is going to be merged on that field. So if we wanted to show anniversary for some reason, I could do that. So we'll hit save. And then if I come back to his view, now we have a column showing the anniversary data. So I can really customize this in any way that I would like here. It's quite flexible with the information that I want to display there. And so I could add anything to the invoice list, to our subscription table, to our profile fields, our payment plans. There's quite a bit of flexibility if needed to customize the data that's displaying on any of these pages. Finally, we'll cover in this video is the menu links. So these are displaying up at the top. I can reorder them. I can add a custom link if I want to use an icon. I can select a little icon, give it a name. I could use any URL that you want, and customize those menu displays. So if I update that and then I come back here and refresh, and now I've got subscription and payment plans available there. So that covers customizing the look, feel, and information that you have displayed in your Fortapay billing portal.